Ever feel like you're just kind of stuck on autopilot? Just going through the motions? Like you have less and less say in, well, anything.
Yeah,
You're not alone.
right.
We're diving into Dr. John's fascinating talk on Democratizing Knowledge and Skill 2.0.
Okay.
And he calls this feeling a crisis of agency. Apparently, it all goes back to the Industrial Revolution.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. John argues that ever since the Industrial Revolution, we've been shifting agency from humans to machines. Think about it. We went from crafting things with our own hands to standing next to massive machines doing these really repetitive tasks.
Okay, that makes sense historically, but what does that have to do with me right now?
Well, remember that feeling of being stuck on autopilot you mentioned?
Yeah.
That lack of control. It's not just about machines replacing physical labor anymore.
Okay.
Dr. John cites studies showing that only a third of workers today feel engaged at work.
Really?
Even worse,
Yeah.
a sixth are actively trying to sabotage their own companies.
Wow. A sixth. That's wild. So this crisis of agency, it's not just some abstract idea. It's like showing up in our workplaces. It's making us unhappy. It's even making us act out. But how do we fix it?
Well, Dr. John believes that a big part of the solution lies in rethinking how we learn and interact with knowledge.
Okay.
He points to dialogue, actual back-and-forth conversation,
Yeah.
as the foundation of human development. It's how we make sense of the world, how we challenge assumptions, how we grow.
So like those late-night college dorm debates, except hopefully with fewer instant ramen noodles involved.
Exactly. And it starts even earlier than college. Think about how children learn. They're constantly asking why, they're testing boundaries, they're learning through interaction.
Yeah.
There's fascinating research showing that this type of dialogue literally shapes a child's brain, their social and cognitive abilities. But somewhere along the line, we moved away from that model, and it's costing us.
Hold on, isn't that what school is for? Learning and all that?
You'd think so, right? But Dr. John argues that our current education system is actually contributing to this crisis of agency. So for centuries, education was built on dialogue and debate, like the Socratic method.
Right.
Then came the Industrial Revolution, and with it, the need to churn out a standardized workforce.
So like those rows of desks all facing forward, not exactly designed for lively debate.
Precisely. Dr. John points to the Prussian education system, which emerged in the 19th century as a turning point. It emphasized uniformity, memorization, and the teacher as the sole source of knowledge. And sadly, many aspects of that model are still with us today.
Okay, so we've got this education system that's not really preparing us for the kind of critical thinking and problem solving we need in a rapidly changing world.
Right.
And on top of that, we've got AI entering the scene,
Yeah.
which makes a lot of people nervous about machines taking over even more tasks. So where do we go from here?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And here's where Dr. John's argument takes a really interesting turn. He doesn't see AI as the enemy of agency.
Okay.
In fact, he thinks it might be the key to getting it back.
Wait, really? How does that work? I mean, most people see AI and automation as like taking away control, not giving it back.
I know it sounds counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but hear him out. Dr. John points to the release of GPT-3 in 2022 as a pivotal moment.
All right.
This was when AI started to really talk back, to engage in dialogue, not just respond to commands.
Okay, yeah. I've played around with some of those AI chatbots.
Right.
They're pretty good at mimicking conversation.
Yeah.
But is that really the same as true dialogue?
That's the question, right? And it gets to the heart of what Dr. John is proposing. He believes AI's ability to process information, to learn from our input, and to respond in a nuanced way opens up incredible possibilities for personalized learning. Remember how we talked about the power of one-on-one tutoring?
Yeah, how it's supposed to be super effective but impossible to do on a large scale.
Exactly. Well, imagine an AI tutor that can tailor its approach to your learning style, identify your weak points, and guide you through complex concepts at your own pace.
Okay.
That's the potential Dr. John sees in this technology. He even compares it to having a guardian angel on your shoulder, offering insights and guidance throughout your life.
Wow, that's a pretty powerful image. But can you give me a real-world example? How would this actually work in practice?
Sure. Dr. John shares a great anecdote in his talk.
Okay.
He was trying to fix his son's car, and he was totally stumped. So he described all the symptoms to an AI program, And guess what?
What?
The AI diagnosed the problem.
Really?
Just from his description. No mechanic needed.
That's amazing. But it also makes me a little nervous. If AI can do all that, what roles are left for us? Are we all going to be out of a job?
That's the fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
But Dr. John's message is not about AI replacing us. It's about us learning to work with AI in a way that empowers us, that helps us reclaim that sense of agency.
So less man versus machine and more man with machine. I like the sound of that better, but how do we actually get there? Okay, so how do we get to that man with machine future? It still feels a bit like we're on the verge of being replaced, you know?
I hear you. That fear is understandable. But Dr. John argues that instead of fearing replacement, we need to focus on becoming AI savvy.
Okay,
It's not enough to just know how to use these tools passively.
right.
We need to understand how they work, their limitations, and how to leverage them to amplify our own abilities.
So it's less about being told what to do by AI and more about us being in the driver's seat, using it to enhance our own skills and knowledge.
Exactly. Think of it like this. You don't need to be a mechanic to drive a car,
Right.
but knowing a little something about how your car works can make you a better, more confident driver.
Yeah.
The same goes for AI.
That's a good analogy. So how do we actually become more AI savvy? Are we all going back to school for advanced coding degrees?
Not necessarily. Dr. John believed that organizations have a huge role to play here. He urges them to actively empower their employees by providing training, resources, opportunities to experiment with AI. Imagine companies offering AI workshops, creating internal AI mentorships, or even just giving employees dedicated time to play around with these new tools.
I love that idea. It's about making learning about AI accessible and even fun rather than intimidating.
Exactly, and it goes beyond just using AI in our current roles. Dr. John challenges us to rethink how we design technology itself.
Oh,
Imagine user interfaces that are truly intuitive, personalized, and even enjoyable because they're powered by AI that understands how we learn best.
so instead of AI just automating tasks, we could be using it to create entirely new ways of learning, working, and even just interacting with the world around us. That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is. And it gets to the heart of what this deep dive is all about. Reclaiming our agency in a world being transformed by technology. Dr. John leaves us with a powerful question. Imagine AI as that lifelong guardian angel on your shoulder, offering support and guidance. What would you ask it? What could you achieve with that kind of help?
Wow, that's a really great question to think about. It's a little daunting, sure, but also incredibly exciting. It makes me want to go out there and learn everything I can about this technology so I can be a part of shaping its future, not just reacting to it.
That's the spirit. And who knows, maybe we can even rediscover a bit of that childlike wonder and love of learning along the way.
I'm in. Thanks for taking this deep dive with me. Until next time, keep asking those why questions and never stop exploring.